You knew this day was coming. You knew this moment was inevitable. I can't always talk about the best of the best. It can't always be sunshine and smiles. No, today we're talking about the worst covers. And we're going to talk about the worst Avengers covers of the 1980s. Yeah, but you know what? I'm no hater. I'm a congratulator. So there will be no slander of the artists. Oh no. Oh no. This is the pop culture cosmonaut Jack. And here we go. We're going to start with number 10 on the list. Ironically, this is the David Letterman cover, an issue of Avengers 239. This one came out in October of 1983. Now, I had to get this one out the way. It was never going to be my number one worst because I think it's an unusual cover that is being silly on purpose. Okay, it knew what it was trying to do, and it's Assistant Editors Month. It says that at the bottom. So it kind of feels like cheating almost to put this on the list, but it's I still got to do it, man. It's a weird cover. Look at the letterbox even at the top. They're all turned away. I've never seen that ever in a comic book. And Dave Letterman is front and center. Looks like he's got a serious headpiece on top of his dome there, saying, and we're going to have more fun than Earth's mightiest heroes should be allowed to have. Wonder Man, Black Panther, Black Widow, Hawkeye, and Beast hanging from above. It's not a badly drawn cover, I guess, but it's not exciting in any way, shape, or form. It's corny, I suppose, but I don't know. I had to get this out the way. It was never going to be high, top of the list. But let me just preface this by starting. We're going to get worse and worse and worse, or weirder or weirder or weirder. So even when I go to the next one on this list, y'all might be surprised. At my number 9, it's Avengers 300. This one came out in October of 88, and this is from maybe my all-time favorite art team of John Buscema and Tom Palmer. Veterans of this channel will know I've praised them often. This is a well-drawn cover because they never drew anything badly. I think it's the subject that irks me. Presenting the new team. Steve Rogers, the captain, you're exempt. Alright? The mighty Thor, you're also exempt. But let me talk about the other 3 people on this cover who do not belong on an Avengers cover, period. Okay? You got the Invisible Woman, who's actually looking a little curvier than usual. So I see you, Sue Storm. You're not so invisible all the time. And Mr. Fantastic above her, like, hey, you looking at my wife? What do you think you're looking at, buddy? Pal. All right. Yeah. But it's not that I hate these characters. I don't hate them, but the fact that they're both wearing Fantastic Four costumes on an Avengers cover is a bold insult. All right, and it shouldn't have been tolerated. If they had come with some different uniforms, at least just for this little short stint that they had with the Avengers, I might have lessened my ire, my anger, my vitriol. What do you think of those words? To say that, man, let me say that I just, they look out of place here on this cover. And no matter how well they're drawn, they do not belong. And let me move on to Gilgamesh, the Forgotten One, reintroducing him, looking encumbered by this heavy bull costume. He's having trouble moving. And look at, they're all running. I have a thing against covers where the team is just running at the camera. This is a good example of it, I guess. But Thor, the flying characters, they gotta always wait, hang back, give everyone else a head start so they can just start running. Because otherwise, Thor, he's the thunder god, man. He could fly, at the snap of a finger. So I feel bad for him. But Gilgamesh, looking bad here. He had another awful look, where he basically looked like he was starting out in an RPG, like waking up in a dungeon and you're fighting rats. One of those kind of games. He has nothing. And then he had another look, which was kind of a more armored look, which was actually pretty cool in its own way, pretty slick and distinctive. But he was better left forgotten. I was not amused by his addition to the Avengers. I was running out of steam around that time as a collector. Yeah, let me move on to the next one though, number 8 on the list. We're getting worse or weirder. This is Avengers 248, which came out in July of '84. Al Milgrom and Joe Sinnott did this one. It's Reigning Eternals. It's not necessarily a badly drawn cover. It's more the subject matter itself. It's silly. The all white around adds nothing, lends nothing at all. The Eternals falling from the sky. This doesn't tell you very much about the story. And, I guess what? They were trying to jump off was it a popular song? It's Raining Men by the Weather Girls. I'm sure you all remember that in some way, shape, or form. Good Lord. Why would you even try to invoke such things? And Pop Culture Cosmonaut, why are you bringing that back? Well, I gotta do it. This cover, I'm not even hating on the Eternals necessarily. I think they can be interesting in their own right. The characters the Avengers at the bottom are not necessarily badly drawn, so I'm not hating on that. But this is just a silly, confusing cover, and the white background, I think, makes it look like a lazy, rushed, incomplete cover as well. I don't always say that when the background is missing, but for this one, it just kind of looks like a lost image. I don't know. Sorry, y'all. This is just a weird one to me. All right, let's go to the next one. This one is Avengers 210, The Wrath of the Weather Men. I just talked about the Weather Girls. What a coincidence. All right, and in this one, by the way, the Weather Girls used to be called 2 Tons of Fun. I think that was a better name. They should have stuck with that. 2 Tons of Fun. Damn. That's very limiting in some ways. But the Weathermen, these, if you see here on the cover, Beast is all frozen up. Thor is getting hit by lightning. Vision and Scarlet Witch are getting chased by a tornado. I don't know. Captain America, he just looks like he fell on his back, man. He's falling and he can't get up. He needs a Medica alert bracelet there. I don't know if it's an earthquake or something that got him off his feet. I'm assuming something like that. I don't know. But the Weathermen at the bottom, or at least this face that we see, is so plainly drawn. I don't know. It doesn't make me that intrigued to know who the hell they are. And this is Gene Colan, by the way. He's a legendary artist. So, even the best artists had a lot of misses. Thor, Beasts, Vision, and Scarlet Witch, and Cap, they're not necessarily badly drawn. I think it's mostly the Weatherman face at the bottom that really bothers me. It just looks so two-dimensional that and it takes up so much space that I think it ruins the cover in its own way. This could have been a good one, but I just think the execution overall and the composition of it just misses the mark. But yeah, I think we should move on to our next one, which will be Avengers 224. I'm sure a lot of people might be surprised to see this one. I've seen it on some favorites lists before, but confession, I always hated this cover. The red background to me is very ugly, and you see Yellow Jacket in the front holding on to these bars of red, looking like he's in jail, and then behind him, it looks like he's, a prisoner being forced to watch a Hallmark movie marathon in the background there. And he's just being tortured psychologically by that. I don't blame him, but this cover to me is just ugly. I'm sorry. I don't care, if people can remember it fondly. That's fine and good, fine and dandy. But just on first impression, you look at this, I would say, ugh, this could have been done much, much, much better. Yeah. But let's move on to the next one on the list. This is number 5, the 5th worst or weirdest Avengers cover of the 80s in my mind. This is Avengers 301. I already did 300, didn't I? This is the very next issue. And this one was not Buscema and Palmer. No, it was not. This was Bob Hall and Don Heck. All right, so they were not regular Avengers artists at this point whatsoever. Into the lair of the brain leeches. And you see the lineup from the previous issue, except this time Steve Rogers is Captain America again. He's not the captain anymore. But you got Reed Richards, Sue Storm in the foreground, still wearing their Fantastic Four uniforms. You got Thor, and you got the Forgotten One, who looks like he's getting brain leeched already. I felt like my brain had been leaving my cranium by this point in my Avengers collecting, I'll be honest. I just think the subject matter, brain leeches, and also my subjective memory of being very unimpressed around this time kind of weighs in. I don't always put my subjective memories too much into my rankings, but sometimes you just got to do it, man. Yeah. We're going to move on to the 4th worst or weirdest cover of the 80s, and this is Avengers 236, where Spider-Man, an Avenger. I owned this comic. I remember buying this, and I guess some people might not put this on the list just because Spider-Man is on the cover, but to me that doesn't mean anything here. I always thought this was an ugly cover. You got Star Fox looking like he's jumping for joy in the back. Captain Marvel looking kind of weird in the back, the way she's flying. Captain America with a big grin on his face, holding his shield in a very non-threatening way. Scarlet Witch looking like she's doing some cheerleading routine. But She-Hulk, she got them leg warmers on her ankles, looking like she's late for a jazzercise class or something. Remember the what was it, the 20-minute workout? Those chicks, they liked those leg warmers, bringing it to the mainstream. Y'all remember that? Come on, don't front. Yeah, She-Hulk is the most interesting subject on this cover. Spider-Man isn't doing anything particularly fun. I never liked this cover. I'm not really sure why I even bought this comic. This is Al Milgrom and Joe Sinnott. I'm sorry. Around this era, there were a few misses among the hits, and that's just how it is, baby. All right, we're gonna move on to the next one. This is number 3 on my worst or weirdest. This is Avengers 203, and this came out in October of 1980. This is the work of Carmine Infantino. All right, his name has not come up too much on the pop culture cosmonaut, but he's a well-known legendary name. Unfortunately, this cover is a mess. It's a hot mess. All right, it says at the bottom, "The Beast and Wonder Man face the unending menace of the Crawlers." All right, well, Beast and Wonder Man look okay, I guess. But the Crawlers, what are we looking at here? What the hell are these things? You look at every one of them, and it's, I don't know if y'all are having the problem I'm having. but it's hard to kind of figure out what's what and what you're looking at on their legs, heads, arms, or what it is. I don't know. I take a lot of points away for stuff like that. It's just weird and kind of uncomfortable to look at this cover for that reason. The water looks pretty disgusting. It looks almost soapy. It's foamy. It's gray and that weird aqua shade. And the tunnel is actually the roof, or the ceiling of the tunnel is my favorite thing on this cover. Actually, I think that's actually pretty well done. But this to me is a bit of an eyesore. I will give it points for being memorable in its own way, but I don't think it's memorable for the right reasons. So I'm sorry. That's just how it is. All right, we're going to go to the number 2 worst or weirdest cover. And I really do not like this cover whatsoever. It's Mighty Avengers 253. This was done by Keith Pollard, an artist that I like for the most part. December of '84. This cover, to me, man, the Vision versus Quasimodo in the heart of a machine. And you look here, you see it looks like Vision is throwing a very weak punch at Quasimodo here. It looks like they're rehearsing for an action scene in a movie. The screen, it's got the white blank background. You got Hawkeye, Mockingbird, Wonder Man, and Tigra at the top, looking down, wondering what's going to happen. And look at the bottom; they're like horrified. They have like a different. They'll have a different look on their faces than the ones up above in the West Coast Avengers. The bottom, the East Coast Avengers, they're all like, look at them. Their mouths are wide open. Cap, Scarlet Witch, Hercules, and Star Fox. Were they gambling on this or something? And they're real worried about their bets. This looks like a disappointing pay-per-view. I remember quite a few of those back in the day. All right. I have nothing positive to say about this cover, except maybe it was trying to do something interesting or unique. It was trying, but I think this is a fail. This is an eyesore. Sorry. But it is memorable. I'll give it that. Yeah. All right, but we're gonna move on. We got one more to go. We got one more to go. I'm not gonna name any names, but I'm still waiting for that check, baby. All right, write the name and sign the dotted line, Jack. All right. Anyways, number 1, the worst and the weirdest cover of the 80s Avengers is 221. Who will be the newest members of the Avengers? Earth's mightiest heroes? With a question mark and exclamation mark. And they got these rows of squares, looking like the Hollywood squares on this cover here. Daredevil being the center square. All right. To me, this is just a lazy, as uninteresting as you could possibly be, and the red around this whole border to me makes it look quite ugly overall. This one always stood out as a fairly bad looking cover by artists that I've seen in a lot of great ones, Ed Hannigan and Brett Breeding. Sorry to put names to these covers, but damn, I do not like this one whatsoever. And on this cover, like, pick two. Two of these heroes are going to become Avengers. If you remember who they were, good for you. But you got to be nuts if you think they were going to pick Black Bolt. You don't want him to hang around that dude for very long. Okay, any sneeze or cough, and you got tinnitus for the rest of your life. Rom the Space Knight. His name has rarely come up on this channel. Would he stick around Earth long enough to be an Avenger in any way? That's an odd thought. Dazzler, no thank you. All right. But yeah, anyways, to me, is that interesting? Really, to just look at these characters and say, oh, I'm going to pick two. Okay. It's a gimmick cover. I don't know if I'd say it's badly drawn. Not necessarily, but I just think the presentation of this image on a cover is so dull, boring, played out, man. This is some Brady Bunch stuff, y'all. Like, come on. I don't know. Again, I bet you a lot of y'all are mad. You're like, oh, they're pop culture Cosmo. Yeah, what are you talking about, man? Yeah, by including this. Because listen, that's how I roll, man. If I see something in these covers that I don't like, I'm gonna speak on it. But again, these artists were so prolific in what they did, good and bad. And there's no hate involved. That's for damn sure. All right. This era of covers had so much greatness that I had a hard time picking out covers to put in this video. But, you know, I had a good time doing it. I can't always just talk about the best, the top 10. Like I've said, if there's other superlative adjectives you can think of for titles of videos, I'm willing, able, and I'm ready, Eddie. You know what I'm saying? Like, comment, and subscribe. All right. And if you don't, things can go from bad to worse for ya. And you don't want none of that right there. The Pop Culture Cosmonaut is out for now.